They go 3 points clear at the top. Another win for them. Another set piece goal, which I'm not going to lie. It made I burst out laughing when it went in. It was the same as our goal with Maguire. I was like, the fact we beat them with a set piece after Slot kind of moaning about it. I love that sort of stuff in football. I kind of love the shithousery of it. But what's your views on Arsenal at the minute? Because they're just, again, they're picking up these wins. They're looking almost, 2 games on the bounce. First time they've done it in 21 years. It's not been done very regularly in the Prem in the last 30 years, where they haven't conceded a shot on target in the last 2 games. They're on track. I'm not saying they'll beat it, but they're on track to only concede 14 goals this season, which would beat Chelsea's record. They're looking a very hard team to beat right now.
They are. Yep. Defensively, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, like, I know people are getting onto them for not playing the Arsenal way, or not playing beautiful football, or playing haram football, but Arsenal used to be playing the best football in the league and won niche. You know what I mean? They went years without really getting anywhere close to the league title, but playing some of the most beautiful football. And I know people like get on Arteta's back and get on Arsenal's back, but at the end of the day, they're doing what they need to do. They're getting the results. And when everyone's been cussing Arsenal for, you play good football, but what do you win? You don't win anything. You guys are celebrating this, celebrating that. Oh, but you need to get results. Don't worry about how you play. Now that they're doing that, it's, oh yeah, but they play such terrorist football. It's a disgrace. Like, for me, it's the duplicity I just can't handle. Like, I don't like Arsenal. I don't like them winning. But at the same time, it's like, if we're going to talk to them about them fairly. Because when Chelsea back in the day were winning 1-0, having the best defensive record we've ever seen in the league, no one was saying, but like they're terrorists. You know what I mean? It's haram. They just said that's another way to win, and you congratulate them. So Arsenal, they're doing what they need to do. Will they win the league? We will see. We will see. We will see if there's a blip. We'll see if there's a moment where they can't come back from. But right now, they're showing the mental fortitude. They're showing the defensive structure, and they're showing that, listen, if we can't beat you on the ground, we'll beat you in the air with set pieces. And it's another weapon. You can't complain about a goal that is legal in the game. It's not like they've handballed it and they've got away with it all the time. All set piece goals are goals. All penalties are goals. All free kicks are goals. They're in the game for a reason. So if they're scoring it that way, either get your team to defend better at them, or you start scoring more set pieces yourselves.
But just correct me if I'm wrong. Arsenal have scored 10 set-piece goals out of 15 in the Premier League so far, right? So I think
I have to look.
Because I think I saw a stat saying it was 10 goals. I think Chelsea have 11 set-piece goals this season. I think Arsenal have 10. But I don't know if that's all comps or Premier League.
I'm just on the Premier League. Let's go and have a look here on attacking stats. I'm on who scored, so we'll just take their word for it here. So what it says here, set piece goals, they say it's Chelsea with 8, Arsenal with 8.
Okay, so Arsenal there, it must have been all
Champions League, yeah.
So still, 8 out of 15 is not too bad, but when you're on the wayside of scoring more set pieces than normal goals, I think naturally in a title challenge, it would give you a little bit of, you got to take something away from them. It means that going forward, attacking wise, no, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not saying, because we can talk about how good they are defensively. Nobody can take nothing away from Arsenal. The fact that they're not conceding shots on target is more than enough to show you that this team at the back is ready to win a title. There's nobody can say nothing. They're doing really well at the back. But going forward, let's have it right. Gyökeres hasn't scored in 7 games. That's been very quiet. 7 games without a goal for the star striker that was brought in to challenge the Haalands and so on. Let's have it right, because if he was going to be the difference maker to help them win the league, he's got to score numbers up there with Haaland, Salah, and so on. I think that it's a problem because you're now doing the same thing that you've done last year. You've now got 8 goals out of 15 from set pieces. It's looking like, can you actually create goals outside of these set pieces? Now, if you're just consistently winning these games 1-0, cool, you can do that, innit? You naturally can just build up wins. 3 points is 3 points. But when you get into some of these tougher games, like the Liverpool one, for example, you can now look back at that game and say, that's something that's going to happen frequent throughout the season. They're not that great at creating clear-cut opportunities, so they're having to lean on these set pieces to get themselves goals. Now, Is that bad? Some may say no. Some may say yeah. I think it depends on who you are in it. But ultimately, as a rival of theirs, I think I am going to slight them with that because it is something that it should be worried. I would be worried personally if we're not, like, my team right now is not creating that many clear-cut opportunities. I'm worried about the attacking fluidity. I think Arsenal fans love, because they're top of the table, they're going to keep brushing it under the rug. Same way that they're going to brush under the rug that Gyökeres isn't scoring because they're top of the table. But if they wasn't top, they would be thinking the same way we are.
Do you think the not scoring, not creating goal scoring opportunities, clear ones anyway, is down to them as in the way that they play, or the opposition's plan is to nullify that area of Arsenal's play? Do you think maybe it's a opposition thing more than it's
always that. I thought I was speaking to someone yesterday and they were saying it's like, oh, a team set up in a super low block against Arsenal. It's not that. It's the way Arsenal play force teams into a low block. You do slow possession build up. You're going to pass them to death. And then it gets to a point of when they've got all their players in their half because the centre-backs sit on the halfway line, or if not, in front of the semicircle, and you've now got all your players in their half. Where else do they expect the players to go? Do they want them to go man for man? No, they're going to go into a low block. Arsenal can have teams like that. And that's why I don't know about you guys, I find watching Arsenal boring because you'll be during a game and you're just watching them go side on the edge of the box for 15 minutes. And they'll take a shot, create an opportunity. The ball gets lobbed back up and then Arsenal start again. They start to build their attack over the next 10 minutes. That is, Arsenal forced them into a low block. So I don't think necessarily teams set up that way, but the way Arsenal play, they're so good on the ball.
I mean, I think it's a combination, isn't it? Because yes, they force them back, but at the same time, the players don't step out of their lines to try and win the ball, which then would create more space and openings for Arsenal to shoot and maybe score. I mean, against Newcastle, they created lots of open play chances. Nick Pope just pulled off ridiculous saves in that game. And I also think if you look at the Fulham game, you look at the set piece they scored from, that set piece came because they carved them open and it was a last-ditch tackle that stopped a shot from going in on goal. So it's not as though they're creating their set pieces by like just hitting loads of long balls into the box and then the ball's being cleared out for set pieces. A lot of them come from great intricate play. 4 or 5 times Saka beat a man, beat 2 men, got into the box, but when he's trying to pull a cutback, the box has got like 8 or 9 people in it and they're booting the ball clear for set pieces. They're just where they would be in trouble is if they weren't so good at crossing the set pieces and they didn't have centre backs that were so good at scoring from them. You could argue that could be a problem for them. But teams are petrified of Arsenal. That's why they all sit back behind the ball. So the games aren't great spectacles at times. That is true. But part of that is on the team they're up against being absolutely sort of stiff with fear. They know if they open up and they play, even Fulham, this is how you know Fulham was scared of them. I'm not saying Silva was, because Silva was shouting at his players. It was the 93rd minute. They're 1-0 down. Fulham have got a counter. Jimenez does brilliantly to work the ball to the edge of the box. No Fulham player run forward to try and score. And it was almost ingrained in them for that game. Well, if we commit and then we get caught, we're in trouble. And I looked at it more as Fulham being the players more than the manager. The manager of the whole game was saying, get up, attack. You could see him shouting it. The Fulham players were so scared of Arsenal, they didn't want to attack back. And essentially, I looked at it like boxing. I know you like a bit of the UFC and stuff. This is essentially Fulham's fight plan for 90 minutes. Don't hit my face. That's what they did. They went around, they did this. They just protected. They didn't throw a punch. Yes, they countered, but even when they countered, it ended up with just shots from the edge of the box that didn't cause any real trouble. So I get your point around Arsenal, but it's on the opponents to open up, isn't it? It's on the opponents to try and attack. It's on the opponents to try and do something, and no one is. We'll see what you guys do in a couple of weeks when you play them, whether you attack them, whether you sit back and absorb them. I'm sure you will. And I think if teams attack Arsenal, they'll score more goals from open play and from counter-attacks. But even City did score on the counter against them. And that caused a hullabaloo the other day, because I think Who Scored put out and said that Arsenal haven't conceded a goal from open play this season. And I think then they were like, well, we scored an open play. It's like, no, that's considered a counter attack, which is separate from an open play goal, technically from a statistical perspective. But they're not conceding from open play. And that's because no one's playing football against them in open play. Everything against Arsenal is counter attacks and set pieces as well. And that's the opponents being scared of them at the end of the day. Because the only other thing I would say, if they're not scared, what's their reason for not trying to be more offensive during a match? So that's the question I've got. Why are teams not attacking Arsenal?
Are naturally going to be scared. They are going to be scared of the team that's battling for the league. That's always been the case in the Premier League. So they're going to be a lot more conservative. But I think we'll be able to tell when they come up against actual footballing sides, innit? Like you say, if they come up against a Brighton and Brighton sit back in a low block, then I'll be like, all right, fairs, every team's going in a low block against them. But when you're talking about sides like Fulham, who are naturally inferior, and let's have it right, even when they play up against, I don't know, even a Tottenham or Man United, they're going to be a side that don't low block, but they'll more counter anyway. So when they come up against bigger teams, they tend to counter. Again, when Spurs play against Arsenal, I expect Spurs to counter because that's just how Thomas Frank plays football. Like, I don't think there's a surprise with that.
Matt here says, Jaws, what would you want Frank to set up? Low block or attack against Arsenal?
We wouldn't go in a low block. We'd counter you guys. We'd sort of be in a mid block and, like say, we'd play on the counter. We wouldn't go and try and attack you guys. Again, I don't think any. And this is where Arsenal fans like Matt, you in particular, just because Matt is you're always in my mentions, Matt. You need to say something in my mentions 24/7. I think he might live on Twitter, to be honest.
No, he does. We know he does. He
definitely does. He's the first in the content creator chat as well. I know Matt's one of the first people to just at everyone when.
We ain't there no more. He ain't there no more.
Great news. I haven't had a message in there for a while. But no, more importantly, I think Arsenal fans need to realize again, like, why would a manager set up to attack you guys? Is that?
Oh
no!
Again, but like, why would teams set up to attack Arsenal? That's not smart. Arsenal have the team that's been put together for 5 years, one of the teams that's most experienced, one of the teams that have, the most chemistry in the Premier League right now. You wouldn't set up to attack them. You'd set up to beat them, and the best way to beat them is playing on counter.
This one's worse, Terry.
That one is the worst one. That's the worst picture I've seen because it actually looks like it.
That's a madness. I saw another one similar the other day. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. This year says, I'd rather play boring football now and win games, but Spurs play attacking football against Villa. What happened?
We didn't play necessarily attacking football versus Villa, and this is what I don't get. Like, if people watch the game, you would see it was a very end-to-end game, counter-attacking. They pressed really high. We played out. That's how the game's gonna go. Like, we're not a team that will ever dominate games. If anyone knows Thomas Frank as a manager, you never watched him at Brentford dominate games. You watched his team have end-to-end sort of more counter-attacking style plays. So, yeah, counter transition football, whatever you want to call it.